kitchen. I'm glad you joined me today. I am making homemade slaw. Today is Tad's birthday, and so what better birthday lunch than hot dogs? I know, they're not that great for you, but he loves hot dogs, so if you're gonna do it, let's do it on a birthday. All right, I am not big on kitchen gadgets. They need to be really functional for me to like a gadget. And for years, I knew about the Pampered Chef chopper, but I was never interested in it. Well, not too long ago, I hosted a party for one of Tad's relatives, and so one of my half-price items was the handy chopper. And so as I've had it now a few months, I'll try something new. One thing I've learned you don't want to do, for me, tomatoes did not work well. It kind of just mushed them up. But I just recently discovered that it is beautiful for making homemade slaw. So I was in process here and I thought, you might as well see this, because normally I just buy the bag of slaw already cut for me, the bag with the cabbage and the carrots in it. And then I whip up my own dressing from a recipe from Keith. Thank you, Keith. And we're going to modify that a little bit today. I know, Keith, you're probably not going to like to hear that, but we're going to change it a little bit. So you need to see this. This thing makes beautiful homemade slaw, and it makes it easy. So if you didn't pick up that bag of slaw at the store, but you've got a head of cabbage and you want some slaw, get out this handy chopper if you've got one, or you could ask for one for Christmas or a birthday. They're not super cheap, but they sure are handy. So here we go. I've got some cabbage cut up in some small pieces. That is one of the drawbacks. It has to fit inside this circle. So I have some cabbage cut up in little pieces, and you actually need to pound it. So what a great stress reliever, right? If you try to press it, which would seem really nice, it just doesn't work. You actually need to pop it. And the more you pop it, the finer it gets. So for onions and different things, it's just fabulous. So quickly, it is this beautiful chopped cabbage for slaw. It's just great. And you could throw a couple of carrots in there if you wanted to. And so okay, let's see if we have enough, or if we want to cut into our next head of cabbage. I had a partial head, and so you can see what it looks like in the bowl. It's really, really just nice for consistency for slaw. So let's see what we want to do. I think that's probably enough for today, because if you make too much slaw, I find that it's good for a few days, but after very many days in the fridge, it just kind of loses its oomph. So let's not make too much today. Now for the dressing. Okay. Normally, you use Duke's mayonnaise, and that is critical, isn't it, Keith? Duke's mayonnaise. One time I tried to make it with something else. Oh my goodness, it really didn't turn out. So Keith says you have to use Duke's. Okay. So now the recipe would vary definitely according to how much slaw you have. The basic recipe is about a cup of mayonnaise. And so we're gonna do that here. And we'll go a little bit less than a cup. Okay. So I've done about that much, and I like to mix it in a separate bowl. And then if you need to adjust it, you've not messed up your whole bowl of cabbage. Okay, and then a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Now I put a little bit more in because we really enjoy vinegar. So you can do that to taste, as little or as much. Normally the recipe calls for less than a 1/4 cup of white sugar, and here's where I'm changing it today. I'm trying to get away from using white refined sugar. And so I'm substituting maple syrup. And I did this the other day, and Tad didn't even realize it. So I'm going about an 1/8 cup of maple syrup. And then some salt and pepper. Again, that's to taste. So you can put it in there, and then at the end, taste your slaw. And if it needs a little more salt or pepper, you can add it right in. I like pepper in my slaw. Okay, so we're gonna mix that up with a little bit of little tiny whisk. It's really handy for stuff like this. And makes this nice dressing for your slaw. And I often can tell by the smell if it's good. I'm thinking it needs a little more something. I can't tell what. Let me smell it again. I would think maybe a little bit more vinegar, but I know we need to go a little bit easy on that. All right, let's try that, and a little bit more salt. Okay, so I'm going to pour that over the slaw. And maybe I won't add quite all of it yet, just in case. And slaw, if you've never made homemade slaw, it can look like you have a ton of cabbage, and then it kind of sinks down as you stir and add in your dressing. So, here we go. And I think I'll add a little bit more of the dressing. Maybe I'll just go ahead and add it all. If it's too much dressing, I can add some more cabbage. So, let me bring that over here so you can see what it looks like. Okay. So you've got your dressing on top, and you just really stir it to completely incorporate it. And then I don't always like to taste things when I'm cooking. If I follow the recipe and I know it's going to be good, but slaw is one of those things you pretty much have to taste, because not everything is done precisely. You can have a little bit less or more cabbage, and you might have a little bit less vinegar or sweetener. So you pretty much have to taste it, or have someone come taste it for you before you're ready to serve it. Okay, so let's taste it and see what's happening here. That's very good. I think it's about perfect. I don't think it needs any more salt or pepper or anything. And for me, slaw is one of those things. Make it a little bit ahead of time. An hour or so before you're going to serve, let it sit and meld all those flavors together. Really good. So thanks for joining me today on Ashley's Kitchen, and you can make homemade slaw.